Hello, and welcome to another Sarasalandcast. I am your host, Real Zero, and today we're talking about a very a personal subject to mine, life after high school. Before we get to the subject at hand, I want to run through a couple of the you know, or talk about the couple of pleasantries, and then we'll get on to the subject at hand. First, hang on, just getting everything set up still, and I'm sorry that if it's a I know I should have done this beforehand, but we can't all be perfect. Other than that, again, first like to say, thanks to Shin Legend. He helped me out initially getting back to streaming, and even though he hasn't streamed as much when he recently, he still helped me out initially. So I appreciate him for that, and he's one of my hosts and or not one of my hosts, one of my mods. So he has helped out a lot. So I appreciate his assistance in the matter. Next is Shrimpy. He's one of my friends. I know him locally, and he's helped me out a lot. Bought a cup or bought uh, helped me out considerable amount, and I wouldn't be here without him. And same goes for Devo Yuri. Devo Yuri is a fantastic person. If you can, I forgot to say, if you could follow all three, that'd be great. But yeah, Devo Yuri is also a fantastic person. It has helped me out a lot, and yeah, that's the last thing I can say. Other than that, I think it's a perfect time to start the subject at hand. With this fabulous Sarasalandcast cast, we are starting on the subject of, I thought it was titled, I thought it'd be a wonderful title, Life After High School. Specifically speaking, growing up, school is probably not the best for me, having asthma and eczema and such. And I was always a social outcast. I was always somebody that was bullied, and it there are significant repercussions for that later, like um I have a lot of anti-anxiety problems now. I take medication for that, thankfully. That's something again I may have talked about earlier in one of the earlier Sarasalandcast casts, but again, not cohesively. So I wanted to bring that up again. The other thing is, I was always one of those kids that they thought they were so smart, thought they had everything figured out. That I was one of those kids that coasted in school, and so I phoned in a lot of stuff in school, in high school, and yeah, my grades suffered a lot. But at the same time, I didn't care. I thought everything, was, for the most part, was gonna. That's the thing in high school. You think it goes on forever, and then it just ends, and you're kind of up shit creek without a paddle. And that's the thing that like mostly sucks about like high school movies or something like Stand and Deliver or like Freedom Riders or whatever. They symbolize graduation as like the greatest thing, and in retrospect it's not the greatest thing. So yeah, high school ended, and immediately depressed, didn't know what to do. I was probably the big thing would probably be for me is before I started getting more proactive and such. I mean, I started streaming on Twitch maybe, I think it's a 2016 when I started, and I started initially streaming a different game every night. I know that's not a good way to cultivate an audience or to build a what's it called, a significant back and forth with a person but that was my thing. and then it was uh, um, but yeah, then I stopped streaming because it is stressful, and even though if you don't, even if a lot of people don't say it, it is inherently stressful. Even though you're just playing a video game, it's stressful because you have to be essentially on all the time. You have to be you have to be you have to be like off the um off the wrist, like comebacks and all that, and that it kind of puts you on edge, kind of. Anyway, so yeah, immediately after high school, I graduated 2012. Immediately depressed. So 4 6 years rolled around, and then I started streaming, and then 2016 is the funny thing is 2016 and 2016 probably again the worst year for the United States, and then 2020 again uh, still not great. 2016 and 2020 were the years I started to be really really energized about what I was working on, what I was trying to accomplish, and so in 2016 I started streaming. I started I started going back to college. I completed my first semester at college, and I got a. I'm trying to think of the course. Um, oh yeah, it was Algebra 1, and I think that was it. And then Algebra 1, I think I got a. Yeah, I think I definitely got an A, or no, I got a C. And then Algebra 2 rolls around, and I get for the next semester I take Algebra 2 and Intro to HTML, which is a computing language, programming language. HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and it's a primary thing that you use. I think besides Java, that you use to program web pages. And programming was something that I really like. It's really entertaining. It's not the right word, but like really engaging. I wish I still was going to school, and I know there's still time. There's always time. There's no excuses. But yeah, I just whenever I get the chance to go back to school, I think I would like to pursue programming again, or at least teach computer programming or computer science, and being an English major are what was my two directives, or two at least majors. So that's what I wanted to learn and commit to. Um, but yeah, 2016, 2017, I started going back to school. I started streaming. Um, Even though this was a lot of people would probably say a negative, or a monetary deficit. I started reading comics. Comics are still really important to me, and the funniest thing is I try to be a really like I would say a pro feminist, like or sorry, like never mind, just just a feminist in general. So I try to um look for a lot of um uh you know I can't think of the word, like cool. I think cool women roles. So like like superhero, or um bounty hunter, or princess for that matter. But anyway, sorry, what I was getting at is um although I a little bit of a precursor was that I think I played a little bit of Marvel Puzzle Quest, and I was like interested. Again, the funniest thing is that, so I was I, a feminist at the time, well, still am, and we were, and I picked up Squirrel Girl at the same time. But it's funny, the way I pick up Squirrel, or not, sorry, this is getting muddled. Where we pick up Squirrel Girl at, or at least the first comic that I asked my friend to buy at the time was Squirrel Girl number 12, with Ant-Man, Scott Lang, and her friend Nancy Whitehead, and her mom Maureen, and Squirrel Girl herself, Doreen Green, and Tippy Toe, her squirrel. But anyway, we went to signing of Bruce Campbell was making another book. It was called and I see it up there, up on my closet shelf. It's called Hail to the Chin: Further Confessions of a B-Movie Actor. If you ever have a chance to read it, I think it's a fantastic book. Anyway, so we go to the signing, or our friend, or my bestie, he buys us tickets to it because my brother at the time was painting a portrait of a Bruce Campbell, like a limited edition poster, and he was painting it for a girl he really likes, and so yeah, my bestie was insanely nice enough to buy us 3 tickets, and so we bought essentially 3 books, and my brother gets the limited edition portrait signed by Bruce Campbell, and he's a pretty nice guy. He's I only met him for like 10-30 seconds or whatever, but yeah, he seems like he's the one of the nicest people in the world. But yeah, so we go to the signing for Bruce Campbell after I got the book signed. And this was my first signing event too. I just realized, because I just I never did. I haven't done anything. I haven't been out of my out of my bubble, except when I went to San Francisco a couple times, and that was certainly different. And I've been to Los Angeles, but again, that was only been 2 times. One was for, again, a school trip to the Museum of Tolerance. The other was I was shanghaied by my 2 besties and to Los Angeles to go to the J-Town. So, anyway, the other thing was, so we go to the signing. We were finished with our signing, and it's the coolest thing as well. It's not just signed by Bruce Campbell; it's signed as in character. So, on the portrait it says "Shop Smart Ash," so it's emblazoned with a gold pin and or a gold marker, and I'm just going like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And I've seen the portrait itself, and it's a really solid painting, and I'm proud of my brother because we don't say it enough, but it was a cool moment to go to, or it was a cool place to go to. So we get that signed, and after we get out of line, I look at the stack of, or a series of comic books for Squirrel Girl, and I was like, you know what? I'll try reading a comic book, and this isn't the first time I read a comic book. I read a comic book, maybe like Flash, one of the like 200s or 180s or whatever, early 2000s or something like that, and I thought it was okay. But then I was like, there's a lot of other minutia and history besides why I don't like comics before I started reading Squirrel Girl. But then when I started reading Squirrel Girl, I was really I was really interested in reading more Squirrel Girl, and then I started reading much more. I started reading like DC, and I didn't buy DC comics for a while, and then I started reading Raven, and then I started picking up Cassandra Cain Batgirl, and I was really interested in that for a while. Um, anyway, but no, I started reading Squirrel Girl in 2017, and that was a beneficial boon in my life, something to you know look forward to. I think I remember from when I was going to therapy. That's another why I was saying 2016 was bad for the United States, and same thing with 2020. But also with 2020 is when I started turning my life around. So so yeah, why I was saying with the comics why there's such a boon is because in 2019 I had a mental health breakdown, and I'm always embarrassed when telling the story, but I was watching two mixer streams at the time. One was Shroud, the other was a guy called Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's on Twitch right now, and he's a fantastic guy. Um, but I was watching two streams at once because I needed my, not my defense, but I would say my, I felt like at the time, I needed two things going at once, because I sometimes focusing on one thing was not enough for me, but that was really uh the worst thing to do, because I was inundated by too much media, or too much uh what's the word, I guess a good word would be material, but inundated with too much over 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 inundated, I guess. I can't think of the word. um too much information to my brain, and so I just straight up then and there I said, life doesn't make sense, or my mind was like, life doesn't make sense anymore, and I kind of just broke down crying. I was crying on the floor. um and I spent a week in the hospital's mental health ward wing, and that was really like a, I hate the phrase a perfect storm, but that's what it is. What it was. It took a week, and then I went to mental group health classes for at least a year. And even though video gaming and uh, watching streams was a thing that negatively impacted me, unfortunately I went back to gaming, and I've been consistently doing that for at least, I would say, almost a year now. And at the very least, I think I have it under better control. But at the same time, I kind of wish I could consistently go back to podcasting, because that's what I was also going to say is, like, when after I had my mental health breakdown and I stopped playing video games, or I couldn't play video games because I was worried that my family, because the main thing why I was so scared of going, of why I had a mental health breakdown, was because I was so inundated with information, and I was scared because I voluntarily went off my medication at the time. I was on a small dose of anti-anxiety meds. I was scared. I was really scared, because what a lot of the doctors were saying was, homicidal ideation, and that's what scared me the most, because I didn't want to hurt my family, or hurt my cat or anything like that. And or I mean, my cat is part of the family. Um, so yeah. So that's what was the main reason I went to the hospital, because I was scared of hurting others. I did have thoughts of suicide, but at the same time, at the I would rather I was not so concerned about that. I was more concerned about hurting others. Um, so I took a year off of video games, and it was a great slash bad thing because I was so like not off my rocker, but I was so off of I wanted the game so much, and yeah, I was but I made it through, and what started me gaming again was that I was at one of my besties like apartments or whatever or house, and I played Sonic, and I was like, nothing really like was fundamentally changed or whatever. I just think I was disappointed in myself because it was I think without playing video games I was so cohesively more impactfully aware of what I was thinking about, what I was working on, what I was focusing on, that speaking about it here, it makes me that so that I don't want to play video games anymore, because again, like what I was talking about is that I was so unfocused while playing video games, or that I was so, because one of the main problems was that I was playing video games so that I wouldn't scratch. One of my eczema was bad, and that was such a cohesive part of my life. And then when I stopped playing video games, my eczema had come kind of back in full force, so I was kind of struggling for a while. But I think it calmed me down enough, or so that I was just watching TV, and it was something that it was a such a, I would say, a breath of fresh air, because yeah, it's hard to try and find the words to it, but in all seriousness, I think um not being on a or not playing a video game was super beneficial to me, because like I think when I stopped playing, I was thinking more cohesively, or critically. I was again, like I was saying, more aware of what I was more aware of my surroundings and such. So I think I kind of wish I could get back to that, but again, I don't know if I can just voluntarily give up gaming again. So, or not voluntarily, because the last time it was like, it was very it was a very big upheaval moment. So, so yeah, uh, and so yeah, 2019 happens. I have the breakdown. I go to a week of at the ward. I go through a year of classes. I get back on video games. I've been streaming that, like, not nonstop. I've been taking breaks every now and then. Although there has been a streak recently, I think that I'm going to not stream gaming today, because I know I should take it easy, specifically because I keep on thinking, I gotta, I go to stream every day, or stream consistently enough, and have but at the same time, I don't think that's going to work, because that's not healthy. And and even though when I've been streaming every day, there hasn't been any improvements or anything like that. There hasn't been any marked improvements or anything like that. So I think, yeah, I'm going to kind of step back and take more breaks from it, because I didn't think about it too much, but it probably is impacting my mental health, and I should step back for a moment and just find other activities to occupy my time. So same thing. 2020, world in disarray. But then I just it was a good year for me because I started to be more proactive with myself, or proactive towards myself, and kind of believe in myself. So and now currently we're at the year 2021, and yeah, 2021 still has problems, but it's still there still are vast amounts of opportunities to be um, to be what you want to be. Meaning, there's still time to learn, um, writing or illustrating, or whatever skill you want to accomplish. And I I I always have a hard time illustrating, but a lot of people say, even if you are not if you even if you aren't well versed in a skill, keep on working at it every day, and be you'll improve in no time. And not just a couple of friends or a couple of people say that, but I think famous artists say that too. Like there's a couple of pictures of Bob Ross, and he says, he says, not just the usual like happy little trees or happy little accidents, but he says that even if you aren't good, um, or the picture, or the question is, what if I'm terrible at it? He says, even if you aren't well versed in it, keep working at it every day, and soon you will be. So I kind of bringing it up. I kind of want to illustrate, but I think for right now I would have to find some materials to do that with. But for right now, and maybe that is a worthwhile activity. Besides, I was reading a lot, and I was working on a lot of crosswords. So, um, gosh, what I was gonna say. So I think I'm trying to think of as many possible activities that I could work on other than play video games, because again, it's like video games are such a great like fun activity, right? But they there's never a really like clear goal. There's never really a clear uh inline or whatever. Yeah, sure, technically there are, but for single player games, but at the same time, it's like for a lot of new online multiplayer games, no, there's not. And that's what I was going to say as well. That I was, uh, besides gaming, that like a lot of competitive gaming is that, and unfortunately, I have played a lot of competitive gaming, and unfortunately, that made me just more madder and angrier, and I just that's not good for me. Because once you get that way, you kind of you take it out on the people either around you, or you know the person that's being punk or whatever. So um, but anyway, what I was gonna say is for the most part, we are in charge of our own actions. Unfortunately, we are, oh, not, or unfortunately, we cannot change the actions of others. So we have to be proud of all our actions, like here on this earth, or not, proud, but just be happy that you're living a okay life. Count your blessings type thing. Be grateful. I remember we practiced the gratuity list. Gratuity lists are great. Thankful for the things in your life. Your family, your friends, your health, your hobbies. That's a big thing for me. So, um, but yeah, that's kind of what I was kind of getting at, was life after high school. Um, for the most part, it sucks. Um, but also it kind of leads you to what is intrinsically you, what is intrinsically real. And I think that's a big part of like self realization, because there were so many aspects of me in high school that I probably wanted to tell people about, but they did not have the capacity or empathy to be understanding. So, you keep it bottled up for a long time. And then, when you're out of high school, it kind of just, you know, falls out. And I think that's, it's a great thing to be, because unfortunately, it's like when you're in high school, or, when you're part of a routine, that's the biggest thing that sucks at being out of high school, is that when you have a routine, you don't think about much, and that's great, because you have a lot of things set out for you. Like, for school, it's like you get up at 8, then you're in classes for, 3-4 hours, then there's lunch, then, a couple more classes for like 2-3 hours, and, then you're done for the day. And that's, half of the day gone, and then you go home and you work on homework, or, play video games, or, you do something else that's important to you. But yeah, that routine was just gone for me after high school, and I was just, I was so, I think a good word would be disheartened. I was so, I was so upset because I think I was so upset and so depressed because I didn't have a routine. I didn't have some type of schedule, that, just things just were not working out for me. And I tried college, but again, that didn't work out so well. Again, like I was saying, I had to wait effectively 4 years before I went back to college and, tried to get a degree out of it. But unfortunately, that still kind of just flip flopped, and didn't work out again. But, there's still time. There's still time for everything. But yeah, so yeah, life after high school, it sucks, but again, it kind of leads you to some people, how they say, like, um, girls mature faster than boys. I think it's like a lot of people know in high school is like, this is what they want to do, but, um, I, I didn't know. And, yeah, that messed me up the most, because, I love my mom, and, my dad has a couple of problems, but I don't have such um I don't have such burning hatred for him anymore. It's more like just general dislike. And but one thing my dad said when I was graduating at high school, or on graduation day, I'll support you in whatever you do. And see, I think that's another thing, is I didn't have any direction. So I mean, I'm glad that he's there to support me, but at the same time, um, I am upset because I don't have a necessary direction to follow. I don't have a job or degree that I'm shooting for, and that kind of was another thing that just, um, uh, that kind of derailed me, was kind of complacency from my father. So loss of routine, complacency, um, and I think just college in general. College in general kind of just sucks. Um, I know it's like college for like doctors, scientists, physicists, whatever. Great, good, go. We need all those important people and more, to go to college and understand everything. But again, for like schmoes like me who don't have any technical skills and just, just talk in general. Um, College is not for everybody, and that was more readily apparent with me because I went of course, online courses for a while, and then it was super difficult to follow online, especially the math portions. So yeah, so I failed a lot of courses early on, and yeah, college definitely sucks because again, there's so many. I know it's like there's going on right now. There's debates about whether to forgive college loans and all that, but college just sucks because it's another thing that like it's for profit, but they don't want to hold your hand per se. They don't want to help you out. They want you to figure it out, but again, it's still school, so if anything, I guess, there should have been, I feel like there should have been, more years of high school, maybe 13 and 14 years to, really help you get your feet on the ground instead of just, pushing you at the door saying, good luck. So, so yeah, college definitely sucks. Um, and, unfortunately, that's the last thing I think I can talk about for life after high school. Also, I never had a job before, so I didn't have any monetary income, which that's also sucks. And I never drove before. I don't have a driver's license yet, so I couldn't even travel even if I wanted to. So stuck at home, no routine, complacency. College sucks. There was not a lot going in my life, and it kind of just spiraled, and you know, here I am today. So, so for the most part, life after high school it sucks, but the good thing is, um, it will lead you to your true self. To know that what you want out of life, what you expect out of your life. It gives you like realistic expectations, and it's up to you whether or not you want to follow them or not. And I think that's a good place to call it. Um, I would like to say thank you very much if you listen to the whole thing or watch the whole thing. And this has been another fabulous Sarasalandcast. Thank you very much for watching or listening. I'm your host, Reroll Zero, signing off.